Take a picture of somebody without their consent.
Yeah.
Jail. Stand over the yellow line while the Shinkansen is coming.
Jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Jail.
Hi, I'm Frankie.
And I'm Cheyenne.
And we are
Conbini Cult.
Welcome to another episode. This is, I think, episode 12.
I think so. Yeah.
Cool. So, do we have a word of the day?
Yeah. So this is a new word for me and Frankie.
Yeah, I was trying to find a word that was related to our topic, which is kind of about overtourism, some incidents with bad tourists, and that kind of stuff. So the word that I found, I've never personally used this word, so if there is something better, please let us know.
Yes.
Because we're always learning. So yeah, but could you tell us the word?
Oh, sure. Okay, so the word is anaba or anaba. I don't know the pronunciation or the intonation of it, but
it means hidden gem.
Yeah, and the kanji is ana, like a hole, and then ba, like basho, or a place. Whole place. Yeah.
Hole in the wall.
Hole in the wall, hidden gem. Like, what else did it say? Like not a well-known spot.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, you get the gist. But yeah, that's the word of the day.
I don't know. Do you have any life updates?
Yeah, so recently I went to go see Oppenheimer in theaters. It is finally out in Japan. Maybe not
a year later.
Yeah, not anymore, but from its release date in the US, the original release date, it's been a year since it came out, right? And yeah, it finally was in Japanese theaters pretty recently. So I went to go see that. I was waiting a whole year to do that, and I could have waited more. I don't know. Maybe it's a hot take, but it wasn't like my favorite movie ever, but I learned a lot. So I was really curious about it. So I went to go see it. I didn't know a lot about the process that went into the making of the atomic bomb and things like that. So I went with my boyfriend, who is Japanese. So I was a little like, maybe this could cause some tension. Like, I'm in Japan watching this with a Japanese person, and I'm from the US, Hawaii specifically. So if we want to bring in like Pearl Harbor and all that stuff, So I was not nervous of like how we would watch the movie together, but I was very curious about it. And so was he. And then we left the movie kind of just like brain busted from all of the information. It's a lot of information, which is fine. But like he and we don't have the attention span, and that movie's like 3 hours long. Yeah, it's like almost 3 hours. And so it was a lot of information for him. It was a lot of names, which are like hard to remember in a different language too. And so, yeah, I was tired after watching it, but I learned something new.
Yeah, I've never seen it. So I don't know. I'm not really that eager to see it.
Yeah, I would say if you're like curious about the leading up to it and like how it got made and stuff like that, it is like a good watch. It's a very informative film, I would say. But I'm glad I watched it. I don't like regret it or anything like that. I just wish I watched it at home. Like it's a good, like you watch it at home, and if you need to take breaks or pause it or, watch maybe like 1 hour a day or something, I think that would be a good pace. Because in the theaters for those 3 hours, I personally could not sit still. Yeah.
Just on the topic of movie theaters, I've noticed that in Japan, people rarely get up during the movie to use the restroom.
Oh, no, yeah.
So I feel a lot of anxiety going to the movie theater because I'm like, oh, what if I have to go? Like, nobody's getting up. I'm going to stand out.
Yeah. And another Japanese thing, too, is like maybe, again, from a US perspective, we don't stay for the end credits unless it's like a Marvel movie and you expect them like at the end or something. But like once that movie is done and the credits start rolling, people just get up and leave. Yeah. But in Japan, they stay, which I think it's very nice. You owe it to the people who made the movie, I think, to read it. But so they'll sit throughout the whole credits. And that's great. And usually my boyfriend and I do that. This time we did not because we were already there for 3 hours. Like my butt was kind of numb at that point, and I like really needed to use the bathroom too. So we did not watch the end credits because couldn't do it. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
One second, I think, because the lights in the space that we're recording in, they're kind of making a buzzing sound. So let me turn off one.
Sorry. Oh, darkness.
Okay. We're back.
Sorry.
With different lighting.
Sorry about that.
Let me readjust my seating position so the couch doesn't squeak.
Okay, ready?
Okay. So for my life update, not much. I mean, I've gone on a few work trips recently, and one of them was in Saga Prefecture. I saw a few different places, but the main reason that I went there was for this event called the Kashima Mud Olympics.
Okay. Well, what's that? Yeah, please explain.
Literally like people doing kind of like an obstacle course in the mud, because there's a specific kind of mud in this area of Saga.
Okay.
Which I don't know, maybe it's good for your skin or something, or it's just fun to play in. But they had people doing races in the mud.
Nice. Yeah.
And it was very funny to watch.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
A ton of people got stuck.
So it's like thick mud.
Yeah. So they had volunteers maybe on deck with ropes.
Oh.
So in case
with ropes. I'm
ropes.
sorry. I thought you said with robes. I was like, to cover yourself after you're all done? Like, what
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
No, with ropes. So they could toss it out and then pull the people in if they got stuck. So
gosh.
it's kind of funny to watch it. Like, yeah, I don't think anybody got seriously hurt. Everyone was having a great time.
Okay, good.
It looked really fun.
Yeah, I saw your Instagram stories. It looked really interesting to see people get stuck in there. I thought that was really funny with their like little selfie sticks. And
there was somebody with an Insta360 camera, and they were like
trying to pull it.
They were cosplaying, and they wore a costume and a wig.
Oh, that's so heavy.
All of that was covered in mud, and their wig was like all over their face and all muddy, but they still had their Insta360 camera, and they were trying to get that shot.
That sounds like a sensory nightmare to me. Like,
yeah, I was actually supposed to compete in it.
Yeah.
So when my client reached out to me, they were like, "Oh, do you want to go to this event?" And I was like, "Yeah, sounds fun. I would love to watch." And they were like, "Oh, but what part would you like to compete in?"
Oh,
and I was like,
and you're like, "Oh,
that might be funny."
Yeah.
But then I just couldn't stop thinking about mud being caked in my hair and under my nails.
Yeah.
And I was going to be by myself. So I was...
and then you just have to like clean up and do all that alone when you're all done.
Yeah.
But
after seeing the event, there were a lot of groups of friends that were competing together. So I think I would do it in the future if I had friends.
I want to do it.
But as a solo person,
as
it's kind of
solo,
awkward.
that's kind of awkward. Have you ever done a swamp romp? Is that like a thing? No, just me. It's my like Shrek lore. No. So maybe was this just a Hawaii thing? I don't know. It took place on the military.
Florida. There's swamps in Florida.
Yeah, like,
I don't know.
So
never heard of it.
This was actually something that like the military base hosted when I was in Hawaii. So I don't know if it's like a military event or just Hawaii specifically. We had the land for it. I don't know, but it sounds like that. So it's like a lot of like muddy areas. I think they make it even wetter, like because it's really watery. It's not like thick mud like that, but it's like an obstacle course, kind of like as if you were doing obstacle training for the military or something like that. And so you sign up, like with your friends, and you make your own like teams and stuff. And then it's like a timed thing for fun. So you just whenever you can finish it with your group is like it. So there's like a section where you like have to climb over the rope and like go under some tunnels and things like that. So that's what it sounds like.
It sounds fun. Yeah, I'm sure it's similar to this event.
The swamp romp. Also, you said it was like the mud was very good or like particular to Saga or something like that. It was like famous Saga mud.
I would have to double check this, but I just have a feeling that maybe it's good for your skin because Saga has a lot of onsen.
I see.
And like specifically Ureshino onsen is supposed to be like bihara, like beautiful skin.
I see.
So I wouldn't be surprised if the mud was also good for your skin.
I asked too because I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised. Like leave it up to Japan to make it something like Kensan, like like our famous like mud of Saga. You know, like they turn every resource, like fruit, mud, whatever natural resource they have, into something that's like special for their prefecture. So I was gonna say sounds very Japanese.
Go there for the special mud.
I want to go for the special mud. Because that is a thing at like spas too, right? Like a mud bath.
Yeah, mud mask.
Yeah.
Mud bath. I don't know.
There you go. Just get 2 done in one day. Exercise and skin treatment. Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Okay.
I'm glad you had fun.
So, today we wanted to talk a little bit at first about the overtourism and the unruly tourists, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Then I also have a few more Reddit stories, which I think would prompt some good conversation. And as always, it's a mix of kind of like hot takes and also some positive things. So,
Woo. Let's get into it. Overtourism.
Yeah, actually, maybe I should ask this question at first.
Yeah.
Do you think, or not do you think, but just do we as foreign residents and people who are foreign tourists, do we need to behave better than the locals? Because a lot of these things, like telling tourists, like, don't do this, don't do that. But then you see a lot of Japanese people doing it. So, yeah. What do you think?
I mean, I think common courtesy should apply to both locals and to tourists. I don't think there should be any specific rules that is like for tourists only. Because if a rule for tourists, for example, is going to be something like respect the place you're going to, then I don't know, maybe that should apply to the locals there too. So I wouldn't say there should be like separate rules or anything like that. Was that the question? Did I kind of stray?
It was kind of a broad question. But I was just thinking, because you just see so much recently of people calling out tourists and other like foreigners for specific things. And like, for example, there was somebody who was the Shinkansen, on the Shinkansen tracks, and this person was standing over the yellow line trying to take a picture of the train, and the staff was like shouting in English, like, please move from the yellow line. And then the guy just wasn't registering it.
Was he Japanese?
No, he was a tourist.
I see.
But I mean, there are times when like Japanese people will also be somewhere they're not supposed to be in order to get a picture or something. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's so complicated because I think we kind of do have to not be on our best behavior, but be more mindful, because there are more consequences if we break the rules as opposed to like a native person breaking the rules.
And consequences as in, what do you mean?
Tourists or foreigners not being allowed in certain places, like, you know, those shops that have the signs that's like Japanese only.
Yeah, that's kind of just messed up in general, though.
I don't know, agree with those necessarily.
As someone,
it's so complicated.
Yeah, it's very, very complicated, and I've probably mentioned this in like every single episode. But did you know I'm from Hawaii? And so
I forgot.
So like my opinion about tourism is probably a lot different than many other people here. It is a very complicated, it's sometimes touchy subject for me, but in terms of like over-tourism and just being a respectful tourist and local, I don't know, I don't see why it's getting so complicated to just like respect the area you go to. Ideally everybody would just respect each other and the rules of a certain place. But the times when you see people getting called out for it, it's usually people calling out other foreigners. So it's kind of become like, what was it, like McCarthyism, when people were just like, or like a witch hunt or something, trying to find wrongdoing in like every situation. It could be. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's like a Japan specific thing, because I think we talked about this in another episode too, where people, I think it's more prevalent here, like tourists doing messed up stuff in Japan, because they just have this skewed idea of like what Japan is like in terms of like how the people are so nice and no one's gonna say anything. I think people come with this, I don't know, it's not right, but this idea of like, well, it's okay because Japanese people are so nice or something like that. I don't know how to explain it. Like the Logan Paul effect, like how
it's like doing something with like in another country, like you would get punched in the face.
It's kind of like
that's not gonna happen here.
Like
probably
like, because if we're going to get into like specific examples, I've seen, videos where there was that kid we talked about who like jumped in the water at Team Labs. And there's like a video of this lady who is running in front of like a Michael or a geisha or something in Kyoto, just trying to take her picture. And it's very and like
people
invasive.
Were also like yelling at her. Hey, you can't do that. That's so rude. Like, stop.
And it's
didn't listen.
So what I'm trying to say is, would you do that as a tourist in like the US, for example, or like somewhere in Europe? Like, would you just run up to someone and take a picture like that uninvitingly and like not say anything or anything? You know, it's kind of like sometimes depending, not everyone and not every example, but like depending on things like that, for example, it just seems like it would only happen in Japan almost, like because they're not going to get clocked in the face for it, or if you're in the US, I don't know, shot for it, like things like that. So yeah, I don't know. I think I strayed from my point, but
no, I think it just, you know, just further adds to the fact that it's, is it complicated? I don't know. Maybe we're just overthinking.
Is over-tourism complicated, or like applying rules to tourists?
Yeah, the rules thing, because I mean,
I don't
know where I'm going with this.
No, I mean, I understand like where you're, sorry, hit the mic.
Like I don't hate tourists. Like, you know, some people just complain all the time, like, oh, the tourists are here, like every place is crowded. I don't want people to stop visiting Japan. Like, I'm not shitting on tourists. Like, of course people want to visit certain places. Yeah. But it's just frustrating that the whole like common courtesy thing doesn't register for some people.
Yeah. The only, I guess, good thing that is coming out of it, in my opinion, is that people, both Japanese or foreign, who are like living in Japan, experiencing over-tourism, things like that, they're being made more aware of how tourism, or like how rude tourists can affect local areas. Because maybe this is like my personal hot take, but it makes me kind of like, like, yeah, like people who are from touristy areas have been dealing with this for many, many years. And in my case, Hawaii specifically, I've seen this dumb stuff for 30 or almost 20 years, because I've been in Japan for almost 10. But you know what I mean? For a long time. So it's not, seeing dumb tourists is not like new to me. But it does make me giggle a little bit how some people are like, F tourists, they're so annoying. I can't believe they just like come to this place and like do all this rude stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure, let's say if you were a tourist in Hawaii, you probably wouldn't be the most respectful person either, just based on like what I see here. So I'm glad it's like causing awareness to people who live here now. Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. Like for me, I didn't grow up in an area where there were tourists, like a small town in New Jersey. Nobody's visiting there.
Yeah. But
so yeah, you definitely have more perspective on that than I do. So
I would just hope like if people who do live in Japan and they're getting upset about like tourists and stuff, they just, I don't know, if you're gonna like do something about it, just I hope it gives you more understanding of how you should act as a tourist if you were to travel anywhere else too. If you see something that's like, oh yeah, that's annoying how people do that, then like now you know not to do that when you travel somewhere too. But but going back to like over tourism in Japan specifically, like tourism exists all around the world, but I think Japan is just so small. It was not built for this many tourists at this like same time, which is why I think it's getting to be a big issue. But I mean, it's not like every place in Japan is crowded though. Everybody kind of flocks to Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka, which is, I mean, of course I understand why people want to visit those places. The most information is available about those places. It's the most accessible with public transportation and with foreign language support. So I get it, but it is also nice if people want to visit other places outside of there as well. Because I forget what the statistic is, but there are like so many Japanese towns that are going to disappear in a few decades. So a lot of these smaller cities and towns also want people to visit there. So when I personally talk about over-tourism, I am encouraging people to visit other places as well outside of what's the most well-known. I think if you are considering coming to Japan just for travel, like I think what a lot of tourists are starting to do is like they're losing sight of like why they want to travel to Japan. I don't know. I feel like because of TikTok and all that stuff, people will kind of want to just come to Japan just because everyone is going to Japan almost. Like it seems like a really cool place. I'm not saying that's everybody, but like I've seen a few people where, you know, they plan to visit and I'm like, okay, cool. You know, like if you want to go to a place, that means you're interested in something about it. Like you want to try, you really love that food, so you want to try it. Or like you saw this one building and you really love architecture, so you want to go there. Things like that. I've come across a few people who are like, I have no idea what to do. I like don't know what I want to do there. I'm like, okay. You know? So I'm like, oh, okay. Do you like Japanese food? No. I'm like, oh, okay, you know? So I don't know where I was going with that, but like, it's just getting to be a lot. But I can talk on and on about it, but I'll just roll my eyes at it for now. Yeah.
I don't know, but we're just seeing so many news articles recently about bad tourists, people like breaking laws and stuff. And there was also a story recently about Yasukuni Shrine in Tokyo, which is a pretty controversial shrine because there are war criminals who are honored at this shrine. So people whose families were affected by Japan in World War II, like, are probably not going to want to visit that shrine. So there was a Chinese tourist who peed on one of the signs at the shrine, peed on it, and then also spray painted toilet on it. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's a bit much. Like, of course, don't visit that shrine, but did you have to do that?
Yeah, I think just not going there would have been enough. I don't know, when it comes to destroying, I don't know. It is really, really hard because this is a very, very controversial shrine.
Yeah, I've never been there.
I've never been there
I don't
either.
think I would go there or post about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I think you not going there or not posting about it like is pretty clear that you don't support it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't really know what to say about that. Like, peeing on something and spray painting it, that's a little intense. Do you know, did this guy like get arrested and stuff? Or
I think by the time they figured out what was going on, he had already left.
And did he post about it on social media? Like, how do we know he's like a Chinese person and a tourist and all that?
I think there was security. Sorry for the squeak.
Oh.
I think there was security footage of it, and then after people like figured out his
his handle and stuff like that. I see.
Okay, so this article from 6 days ago says police are looking for a suspect believed to be a Chinese national. The video of him vandalizing the shrine has gone viral on Chinese social media. Ooh. So could be a Chinese tourist, but we don't know exactly. But yeah, I think he's not in the country anymore, so I don't know.
Couch is squeaking. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really just to be not PC, but like be very neutral about it. I want to see what you guys have to say. So chat,
tell us what you think about Overtourism.
Yeah, rate your comment below and tell us what you think on this chat. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have that much to add about that.
Yeah,
mostly because I'm scared.
Yeah. Of course, it goes without saying that we're not the authority on any of these topics. We're just people who live here and could be affected by it. I do remember what I wanted to say before, like how the consequences, how there could be consequences and how it could affect us. Okay. And that would be in xenophobia.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
Like that went right over my head before.
Sorry.
The xenophobia.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course, if people don't have a lot of foreign friends and all they hear about foreign people is just the bad stuff that they're doing, they're not going to be fond of foreigners.
I see what you mean. Okay, then that is a very big consequence. I don't know why I was like translating that to be something like prison time or like a fine, you know, something very like material.
Take a picture of somebody without their consent.
Yeah. Jail. Which sometimes, go to jail.
Stand over the yellow line while the Shinkansen is coming.
Jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Jail. Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah. No one wants that. So be kind.
Yeah.
Be normal. Like, literally just be normal. I don't know. Like, don't do stupid shit. Okay.
Yeah. Then I just want to ask the question. How do you feel when people say that we're guests in this country, even the foreign residents? You're just a guest.
Okay, so even the foreign residents? Let's see. Well,
obviously for a tourist, you're a guest wherever you're visiting.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I pay taxes. I pay into a pension that I'll probably never receive. I pay for health insurance. And did I mention taxes? So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm like not a guest here. And I think that applies anywhere. If you're just a resident who has a job, who pays taxes and is a contributing member to that society, I don't think you should be considered as a guest. You can be, if you're like a rude person, you can be considered as a rude resident, but like, I don't know if you're a guest, but
yeah, I feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
I think it's a little much when people say you're a guest, because it's also like, we're paying the same taxes, pension, health insurance, all the same things as Native people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I understand, like you move to a place and you're like, this needs to change.
Yeah.
Kind of like the dudes we were talking about before who were like, Japan needs to make English their official language. Of course, that's too much.
Yeah.
But to say that like we should have absolutely no opinion about anything.
Yeah.
I think is not valid.
I think it's fair to not consider yourself as a guest, or to think of yourself not as a guest, but also if you are going to live in a different place, whether you have a job or not, I think it's your responsibility to respect that place you live in. And if it's a different country or a different culture, it's also your responsibility to understand that place and that culture as much as you can. So I say that because, again, just to go back on my personal experience with, growing up in Hawaii, we have a lot of people who move to Hawaii who aren't native there. And then they buy up a lot of property. And then they kind of use that mentality of, well, I own this, so it's like my right to do whatever I want with it kind of thing. And they really don't take the time to see where locals are coming from and understand or, think about natives and Hawaiian culture and things like that. So I'm applying that mentality to myself as someone who lives in Japan. So if you live somewhere, then just take the time to respect that place. Yeah. That's a long answer.
Well said.
Thank you. I hope so, because I kind of like blanked out in the middle of it.
Yeah. No, I'm really nervous. That's very good.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So shall we get into some of these Reddit stories?
Yes, that was a very intense opening. So I'm ready to read and react to some stories, because this first one is very, very spicy.
Yeah. So the first one, if you listen to Two Hot Takes, you might already be familiar with this story, but I just really wanted to talk about it on here as well. Yeah. And actually, after the Two Hot Takes episode came out, Cheyenne messaged me and she was right away. Did you listen?
Yeah.
Do you know what story?
Especially because, I listen to Two Hot Takes all the time, but they don't talk about all of the Reddit stories are anonymous anyway. So you don't really know what country, the poster is talking from. But this was as soon as she said, I live in Japan or something, where she read the title and it was like, should I speak Japanese even after living in Japan for 6 years? Something like that. As soon as I heard Japan, I was like, well, I have, I was like, I have some opinions about this probably. So yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to read it or should I?
Can you read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of long.
Okay.
So the title of the story, it's from r/Am I the Asshole? So it's Am I the Asshole for not speaking Japanese after living here for 6 years?
Okay.
So when you hear that title, that just kind of made me think of the guys that we talked about in the previous episode who refused to learn.
Yeah, when I first heard that title too, I was like, oh, here we go. Like, I know what this is going to be about. But no, I was so wrong. So please listen.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
It's very good.
Okay. I, 34 female, met my husband, 33 male, online and got married 6 years ago. I moved from my home country to live with him in Japan since then. He is a Japanese and has a stable job here. And on the other hand, I'm a freelance illustrator, so it was okay for me to move here. Every day I use English with him. Maybe you already noticed, but English is not my first language, so it's not perfect. So is my husband's English, but at least we can communicate. I tried my best to learn Japanese to be able to communicate with his friends and family, but Japanese is not an easy language. I have to learn how to read kanji, hiragana, and katakana from zero by myself. During COVID, we got money from the government, and he bought me some books and dictionaries, telling me to learn the language more intensively during the lockdown. He didn't teach me anything, though. He said, since I could speak 4 languages, adding one more language should be easy for me.
Okay.
I tried, but it's never good enough for him. He always says my grammar sucks. I do always have a problem with grammar. As you can see, my English grammar sucks, too.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. You're really good at English. Yeah. He said I should be able to speak like a native at this point. So last year, summer 2022, I decided that I should get a part-time job at a restaurant so that I can practice more of my Japanese. To my surprise, the staff there liked me and they could understand my Japanese. I could now also read and write several kanji. I could write my own address with kanji and read menus. Woo, progress. Last week, we had dinner with his family. During the dinner, I made some grammar mistake, which was actually not quite bad because everybody still could understand what I was trying to say. But my husband said in front of the family, I was stupid for not understanding the correct grammar. It makes me upset because he said it in front of everyone. So I said in English, your English isn't better than me and you can't speak my language. Why do you call me stupid? He was so pissed off and he won't talk to me since that day. Am I the asshole?
Okay. So, yeah.
Some of the stories, just in general, on this thread, not having to do with Japan, but it makes me so sad when people ask, am I the asshole for things that are like, of course you're not the asshole.
Yeah, they're like so not the asshole. You are so not the asshole.
They're just treated so badly that the person makes them think that they're an asshole.
I think they mentioned this on the Two Hot Takes podcast too, where they were saying like, when you just get told something so many times, you just start to believe your own actions are kind of like crazy. And so it's really sad to think that she is in the wrong for this situation.
Yeah.
You know, English isn't her native language either. So the fact that she speaks 4 languages and then Japanese on top of that.
Yes.
Is amazing, first of all. Like, you know, and this goes to show, you know, like you are living in Japan, so you're making the effort to study Japanese. And that's like really all that matters. And it looks like she's doing well. She like got a baito, she got a part-time job, and she can communicate with her coworkers just fine. And from the post, she can communicate with her that partner's family as well. And so it's not causing any issue. Except for with him.
Yeah, he's saying you should be speaking like a native by now.
And this is coming from someone who also doesn't speak native English with her. Or
like he doesn't speak her language.
Yeah, he's not. It seems like he's not taking the time to speak her language, her native language, which is like...
Yeah, we don't know
that's
where
very
she's
hypocritical.
From,
yeah. So it made me so mad. So mad, yeah.
It's kind of... Well, I think we should read the edit.
Yeah. We're going to get to it, yeah.
More insight about her mindset. So edit, because I think a lot of the comments were roasting him and saying that like, you know, he's just putting you down. Like, you're doing great. So she said, edit, he's not a bad guy. I love him so much. Just he's very outspoken. If he disliked something, he would say it right away. He never comments on my body or looks, but he's very sensitive about my skills. He often criticizes my art style and other skills. He said, I'm lazy. There's no excuse not to master the language since I'm living here for almost 6 years already. Maybe this is me trying to defend myself, but last year I got my N3 JLPT level certification. He said it must be out of luck because my Japanese is very rough. And he said I should have gotten the level 1 already because I'm here for so long.
God, he is such a dick. He is such an asshole. I have been here for 7 years and I don't have the N1. N1 is hard.
Even native speakers might not get every single question correctly on there. It's really hard.
It's really, really hard. And the jump between each level, for anyone who's unfamiliar, is very wide. What was I saying? Like the gap is really high. And this was kind of something I wanted to talk about too, because I understand, what is her name? Morgan from the Two Hot Takes. Like they're probably not familiar with this test, right?
Yeah, they don't know about the JLPT.
So they didn't like get into this test so much. Yeah. But so for the JLPT, there's 5 levels, maybe, as most of you know. So 3 is like a good level to have, like to start off conversational. Yeah. It's like daily English is conversational English. When you get into conversation. Sorry. Yeah. What? Okay. Rewind that. Conversational Japanese. Sorry about that. But when you get into level 2, it's for business
level.
Yeah. I almost said business English again. Business Japanese. So you probably, if you have that certification, you study, office Japanese and how to navigate like business settings, general business settings usually. And then N1, maybe this is a reflection of like my skill, but I've taken it 3 times and I failed it every single time by a lot. It's never even close to, because that's for people who want to study at like a Japanese university, like not as like an international student studying in like the English course or whatever, like with, all the other Japanese students as well. So the jump from each of those is so high. So yeah, the fact that he's like, you should have gotten N1 already after 6 years. Like, nah, fam. There are people who can do that, of course, but like,
people
for what?
Have done it, but
also
to say that somebody like their Japanese sucks because they didn't get N1 yet.
Yeah. Also, like maybe it's a hot take, but the ALTs, the JLPT is not a good way to measure your Japanese language skill at all. It is such a phony test. I don't know. Like,
I'm not a fan of that test
it's
because
awful.
It's a multiple choice test, which is only testing your reading and listening skills. Like there's no speaking, there's no writing, and it's all multiple choice. So, I mean, not to say that there's no value in the JLPT, but so many people pass like the higher levels of the JLPT but can't have a conversation.
And so I think if you want to like gauge your own, like use it as a motivator to keep studying, then that's totally fine. It's also very useful to have if you're job hunting here. A few years ago, if you had N2, it was totally fine. I was job hunting a couple years ago with the N2, and a lot of companies told me, oh, well, you don't have N1. So, and then they like wouldn't even like request a interview or anything. So what is it called? The requirements has jumped to N1, I would say, pretty recently. But it's really tough. But if you're gonna like test your actual Japanese skill, I would say take the Nihongo Kente. I think that's what it is, because that has.
What's that?
I think it's like a Japanese test overall, but I think that one actually also has an interview portion. There's like a speaking and a writing portion. Okay. It actually tests like the 4 skills or whatever. But anyway, to get back to this post, even having the N3 is totally sufficient, totally fine. Especially because
I think that's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, it's a great accomplishment, especially if you're self-studying, like you just moved to Japan with no Japanese knowledge and then you self-studied and did that. Like, that's really great,
Yeah. And it sounds like she was being so proactive. Like she got a part-time job so that she could practice Japanese.
Yeah. Good for you. That's all we gotta say.
Yeah. There was later an update to this story that they got divorced.
Yes.
Oh, and then she got an office job.
Woo! Yeah, good for you. So, I mean, besides like getting divorced, it sounds like the OP was really happy after getting a divorce, because I think overall it was not a good situation, I guess, with the ex-partner. So
at the time when she originally posted this, it just sounded like she's in a very bad place, like understandably, because she had been put down by this dude for
6 years that we know, at least so far. Was that update, is that not here anymore to kind of give more details about that update?
I don't know where updates get posted.
Anyway, well, this is like from us listening to the Two Hot Takes podcast. But so the update was, they got divorced and she seemed to be doing a lot better after that. She like stayed in Japan, and like Frankie said, she got an office job, and I think she got like a little crush on her coworker. If you have any updates about that, let us know if you're listening. But we just really wanted to touch on that one because it hit close to home. Yeah,
I'm really glad that we had the update for that one. But also, it kind of triggered me a little bit because my ex was like exactly like this. He'd tell me all the time, like, your Japanese sucks. Why don't you study Japanese? And then I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to go to language school part-time. And then he'd be like, oh, it's a waste of money.
What do you want from me? Yeah, I don't get people like that where they're like, oh, this is not good enough.
Win.
Yeah, you really
Anything
just can't win.
you do, they're just gonna
put you down, which is not fair to anyone dealing with that. Yeah, I don't get the whole like it's not good enough and then you offer a solution and then that solution is also not good enough. I don't get it. So
yeah, I mean, if ideally like he would have encouraged her and helped her to study. Like I understand that it's hard to teach somebody your native language from scratch, but like encouraging them, helping them when they need it, like they can ask questions, like that kind of stuff. But this dude was not doing any of that.
I know, and it really is so unfortunate too because they really made the effort, you know, like he made no effort to learn her native language, like we said too. Yeah. And I think like it's so important to have a partner like that who is like, yeah, you're right. You know, I live in this country. I'll study this language because there are a lot of people here, like we mentioned, who refuse to learn, you know, the language of their partner. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
But it had a happy ending.
Yes, so we're happy.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the next story. Ooh. So, this one's a little bit shorter.
Okay, I'll read this since it's short. Thank you for expanding the text so my grandma eyes can see them.
Dozo.
Thank you. So the title is Ready for Downvotes, but I'm genuinely curious. Question. Is this normal? I don't hate my job or my time in Japan. I've only been here for 6 months, but I'm actually enjoying my time here on the whole. And I work at an eikaiwa, so like an English conversation school. Don't get me wrong, there are ways it could be better. I'm just curious if someone's pulled the wool over my eyes or what. What?
That's kind of cute.
End post, but okay.
One of the top comments. Well, yeah, the people who like their jobs don't usually spend time on Reddit complaining that they hate their jobs. So, but
I see. Sorry, this like went over my head again. So they were kind of like
they were expecting people to like hate on them because they're having a good time and they don't hate their job. But as the top commenter said, like you don't see a lot of that because the people who are like happy are not posting on Reddit.
That's so cute. Imagine being like so happy and satisfied with your life. You're like, am I doing something wrong? I wish I could have that.
Yeah. And I hope they're still having a good time. This post is from 4 months ago.
Nice.
So they'll be in Japan for 10 almost a year.
Yeah. 10 I hope you stay for a long time if you're enjoying your time here.
Hope you're still having a good time.
Yay.
But I thought it was kind of cute.
Yeah, that was cute.
I wanted to share it.
Very nice.
Okay.
The
next one is a very hot take. I think it is worth reading. There's some, let's just get right into it.
Let's get into it.
Okay. The title is Japan's, quote, cleanliness myth. So does anyone else feel that this whole idea that Japan and Japanese people are very clean is kind of a lie, or at least a misrepresentation? I worked in kitchens when I was a university student, and the stuff I saw, even working at a fancy izakaya, was a shock. There is zero food safety or hygiene culture in the food industry here, probably because everyone is on baito and don't give a F. Then you have all these people that will sweep the front of their houses every morning, but live in a hoarder's nest full of cockroaches. The classic oyaji tens? What does that mean? 10 second. The classic oyaji 10-second rinse before jumping into the onsen or the phantom hand wash after bathroom. Just move your hands under the sink for a millisecond and it will automatically get clean. Nippon sugoi. Not to mention the weird obsession with separating trash and recycling and having no trash bins, but generating a huge amount of utterly pointless trash from all the extra packaging that everything has. Wouldn't it be much more eco to actually not create the trash in the first place? Fuck, I'm just pissed because some colleague was surprised when I casually mentioned I showered every day, sometimes twice, dropping something like, wow, you're like a Japanese person. I didn't know foreigners like to shower.
Oh, sorry.
Fuck off, Tanaka. Fuck off, Tanaka. Cleanliness here seems to be mostly performative, like every social habit. It's all tatemae, always has been.
Oh, damn.
And the edit, just to clarify, I know public spaces tend to be much cleaner than the average country. I'm just talking more about how shocking the contrast between those clean exteriors and the reality of private spaces and habits can be.
Damn. Okay, this person is fed up. And so to go from that first, like, I like my job. I'm having a great time here. And then this person's like, F this.
Yeah. I was trying not to curse during that, but I think it just added to it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Oh, are we reading these comments? No.
Well, yeah, I think people were still just kind of like, well, compared to like other places, Japan still is clean. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to talk about this because I think they do make some good points in there. Like it's kind of, I feel like some of it is a bit exaggerated, but there are some like valid points that they're making with the whole like performative.
Yeah, the tatemae of cleanliness almost. Yeah. I think some are like Frankie said, I'm just repeating exactly what you said, but some are valid and some were like, okay.
That's a little that's what they said about people sweeping the front of their houses but living in a cockroach den.
Yeah, like
I don't know about that.
I'm
maybe
like
some people.
Pretty confident not all people live in a cockroach den. But so like things like that. There was like one example of, them working in a restaurant and how it was like so dirty. That's not all restaurants in Japan. Mm-hmm. I work in a restaurant and it's very clean. We have to clean it. So the specific examples like that, I'm like, okay, that's a little much. That must have just been like your bad experience. Same with like this Tanaka-san, right? Telling them like,
well, foreigners like to shower? Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, that's also just like a messed up person. That's just like an out-of-pocket comment from that one particular person. Although we could open the debate of like them thinking that because like, do you wash your hair every day? This is like a different, related but different. I don't either.
But yeah, some people interpret that as you don't wash your hair every day, so you don't shower.
Yeah, and I know that's like a Japanese culture, maybe a cultural thing. I don't know, but like most people will wash their hair every day. I think. Do you follow Patricia on TikTok?
The Pato?
Yeah, Pato-chan. So she made a video about this, like some cultural differences when she's dating, her Japanese partner, and so that came up. And anyway, I don't wash my hair every day either, but just kind of tying it into like what this bozo Tanaka-san said. Maybe that was like what he was thinking, but also very inappropriate comment to make. Like what?
Yeah,
what does that even mean?
Was a bit much.
Yeah.
But
this person's done.
Yeah, the comment that they made about people not washing their hands properly, like I think we kind of talked about this before. But
I saw it today.
It's so true. Like, when you go in a public restroom, sometimes there's not even soap at all.
Oh yeah.
Like the other day, I wanted to reapply my sunscreen, but I don't want to do it unless I wash my hands. And I went into 2 different public toilets, and I was like, I just need soap, please.
Oh yeah. I saw a lady. I was washing my hands in the train station bathroom, and she went in the stall, like did her business, came out. She rinsed like one hand like this. If you're gonna rinse one, I really hope it's the one you wiped with. But still, like she just kind of like and like walked out. Yeah. So very
it's something you see pretty often.
Yes, which did we talk about this before? Because like when I worked in a elementary and junior high school before, and they like really drill it into those kids, especially during COVID times, like wash your hands for 20 seconds. They made them like, not squeegee, but like scrub around every finger. And there's like time to brush your teeth after like eating lunch too. So you like all the kids are in the hallway and like they make you brush your teeth for like exactly 2 minutes. And so they're very like strict, at least in teaching it. So I wonder like when does it stop? But to be fair, I have been in to clean the students' bathroom and stuff, and there's not soap in there always, so who knows.
Yeah, it's when I worked at a preschool before, like they pretty much told the kids like if you use the restroom, like wash your hands with soap if you have pooped.
Oh,
but if you pee, like just rinse them.
Oh my gosh, that's on the same vibe of like if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. Like, how's about let's just flush all the time and wash hands? Interesting. Yeah.
The moderator on this thread said that they were locking the comments because a lot of it came from tourists who were like, Japan's the cleanest place in the world.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But one of the comments on here is like, Japanese people are just like people in other countries. Yeah. Squeaky, clean Japanese people exist. Very filthy Japanese people also exist.
Okay.
People who also have experience working at hotels will realize that not all Japanese people are clean freaks.
Yeah.
I mean, these should be obvious things. But I also think, like, I have noticed sometimes that there's kind of a superiority complex that some people have. Like when I was teaching adult students before, like I had mentioned that I was traveling to Korea and they're like, oh, it's so dirty there.
Oh,
like,
yeah. I think it is that external cleanliness or whatever they were like talking about. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I don't know. Just wash your hands and be normal. It is cleaner. Like I think the OP did say like it's still clean, like compared
from the outside.
Yeah,
everything's clean, but yeah, I don't know. There are clean people, there are dirty people.
Well, I hear like, you know, from locals and tourists, whatever, all the time, like, yeah, Japan is very clean, but like, are they not just mentioning like the streets, for example? I've never heard of like, Japan is so clean and then pinpoint that down to someone washing their hands. Like, doesn't that really just mean like, if someone is saying like, Japan is so clean, like, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
like, if you look at the streets, there's not really trash. Yeah. So I don't know why. I've never heard not the myth, but like the narrative of like Japanese people and their daily habits are the most clean. Like I've never heard something like that. I thought it meant the outside, which then yes, it is in my opinion.
I hear that sometimes, but it's usually from Japanese people themselves. Like, especially when I was teaching, they're like, yeah, we're so clean here. We're so hygienic.
Okay. I mean, yeah. So you're doing it properly. But I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. So I'm going to squeak the couch because my butt hurts. Okay.
Yeah. I just thought their rant was interesting and a little bit funny.
Yeah. It's really recent. 20 days ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh.
So the last one,
fun.
You can read it.
Okay. Leaving on a good note.
Yes.
The title is I Moved to Hokkaido and I Love It. A few months ago, I moved to Sapporo for my new job and I genuinely enjoy this place. I'd like to share some thoughts and experiences about living here, and all questions are welcome. First, no bugs. Ooh. I mean, there certainly are bugs, but not the annoying roaches, mosquitoes, etc. I have a fear of them, so thank God. Generally speaking, the rent is dirt cheap. With the money I'd spend on a nice one room in Tokyo, I now get to live in a tower mansion. I usually sleep until around 8:30 and then walk to work. The weather is just different from Tokyo. Nature here is great, air is fresh, but it's almost June and I still need to wear coats every day. I feel like that instead of 4 seasons, weather here is more like winter but in 4 flavors. I highly recommend it if you couldn't stand the steaming summer. One thing about living in Hokkaido is there's basically a car society. The subway is reliable, but only reaches limited areas. You'd need a car for groceries and almost everything else. Also, people here seem to be quite surprised, in a friendly way, when seeing a gaijin working here. Nice.
That was interesting.
That was very cute. Yeah. Cute.
Yeah. I'm glad they're enjoying their life in Hokkaido.
Yeah. Ooh, some good positive comments too. A lot of upvotes on that one. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. You had me at no bugs. I really...
Is it really true that Hokkaido has no cockroaches?
I've never been there, so I
feel like with global warming, they're going to make their way.
They're going to make their way because
they're going to go through the tunnel.
Yeah, they're
like, what is it, like the longest tunnel in Japan that connects Honshu and Hokkaido?
Maybe
it's an underwater tunnel. The cockroaches are going to cross the underwater tunnel.
I'm thinking of the Aqua Line, but that's from Chiba to Tokyo. Yeah, I mean, Hokkaido's getting pretty warm considering, climate change, especially in the summer. It's very like sad news, but a lot of elementary school students and stuff, they're like getting heat stroke because families just aren't prepared for that kind of heat. And so like sports days and kids walking to school and playing around in the summer and stuff. Yeah, a lot of people are getting affected by it because they just have never had to deal with such hot temperatures before. Yeah. Have you ever been to Hokkaido just to travel?
Yeah, I have in the summer.
In the summer. And it was like really nice. Yeah.
There was kind of a heat wave when I went. So it was pretty hot. I mean, not as bad as here, but it was pretty hot during the day. But at nighttime, it was so cool and so nice.
Nice. Yeah. I do like how it's not like hot and steamy like OP says it, but I am not built for winter or cold. So I don't think I could ever live there, but I would like to visit one day. Yeah.
I thought it was nice to hear somebody talk about enjoying living in a place that's not Tokyo.
That's not Tokyo, yeah. And they had a good experience, and so that was a good way to end it. Ooh, Frankie just
I hit the fake plant that's next to me.
What did it do to you?
I'm sorry.
I just sucker punched it. Okay.
Yeah. All right. That's all we have.
Woohoo. Thank you for listening.
We did end on a positive note.
We did this time. Not for once.
We tried to do that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can't, but this time we did it. Yay.
Yeah, we did it. Yay.
Yay.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening. And
watching if you're looking at this on YouTube.
Yes. We'll catch you in the next one. Okay?
Yes. Please give us your thoughts.
Drop a comment down below.
Please.
Yeah.
Please comment.
Please. We're waiting. And we like to read them. Okay.
All right. Catch you in the next episode.
Bye. Squeaky, 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 squeaky.